411 Live.
Where you can learn about issues that affect us every day. State of world, 411 Live.
Real people, real talk.
Made to help people in our community in every way. For your girl, 411 Live.
A couple lost their son under circumstances that you probably would not guess in your wildest dreams. But for this couple, they have not gone inside their homes and closed the curtains, and they're not sitting in a dark room grieving. If they did, that would be totally understandable. But they're not doing that. They're out everywhere. They're talking to whomever will listen. Why? Because they're trying to save your child, your grandchild, your student. Hello, everyone. I'm Beverly Taylor, and this is the 411 Live. Real people, real talk. This is part 2 of a podcast dealing with sextortion. Tamia and Tim Woods lost their son, James, 17-year-old. He was a victim of sextortion, and they are getting the word out. I mean, these people are working hard so they can prevent this from happening to someone else. You know, you hear it all the time. Knowledge is power. Yeah, it's the case in this instance. So let me welcome Tim and Tamia. And I also have Debbie Lassiter with me. And she is the co-founder and executive director of Convergence Resource Center. So thank you for all of you coming. And the reason why, Debbie, I wanted you here is because I want to talk about the intersection between this sextortion and human trafficking. Because your organization works with survivors of human trafficking, helping them to rebuild their lives. When we had part 1 with you guys, talking about James and what he endured and what led to his suicide. And we got right to that point. And we were talking about you guys kind of doing your own investigation. You got his cell phone with all of these text messages from these people, 200 that came in a 19 and a half hour period, time frame, harassing this kid. I mean, just threatening this kid. And so for people who have not seen part 1, which I encourage you to go back, you know, if you can, put this one on pause, go back to part 1 and listen to all of it. But if you haven't, and you don't have time to do that, to bring you up to speed, he got on Instagram this direct message from this girl who said, hey, I'd like to get to know you. He saw her, picture looks good, they're texting. And she says, let's video chat. Okay, let's video chat. Talk a little bit more, and she says, I can take it all off. You want me to? He's a 17-year-old kid. She sounds fine. They've talked, conversed a little bit. He feels comfortable. Yeah, okay. She does it and then says, now it's your turn. He does it. Pictures are taken of him. But she says, what's your phone number? He gives the phone number, and that's when the messages start. And the pictures. Got this picture of you in your birthday suit. And here's the game. Is that too simplified?
No, that's pretty spot on. Yeah. I mean, pretty much step by step, that's exactly what happened. I'm sure there was some other words in there also. Mm-hmm. But I was able to read all the messages.
Yeah.
So I got to see how fast everything moved. I got to see all the threats that they sent them. I got to see him pleading against, what they wanted to do. It was a lot. And the whole time, in my mind, while I'm reading them, I'm just picturing the person that I know, which is my son. And I could see him there scared.
Yeah.
and not knowing what to do and not having an answer for anything that's going through his mind. And I instantly it just made me get filled with anger. Because me as an adult, I know, or I like to believe, I know what I would do in that situation. But him as a child, he's innocent. He's always been filled with nothing but happiness and joy. And for someone to come in and just start punching him mentally that way, I can understand why he panicked. I can understand why he didn't know what to do. I can understand why he was scared. He was probably really embarrassed. It was just all these things going through his mind that he didn't want us to find out about.
Yeah.
Which is probably why he never came to us. And then you add the fact that he was sleep deprived, his brain isn't fully developed, so his cognitive abilities is, somewhat hampered. He's just not completely himself.
Yeah.
I don't blame him for anything that he thought. I can't blame him for anything he did. All the blame that I see goes straight to the people who first contacted him and then went forth with what their plans were.
And I agree with all of that. They're good at picking their targets, right? And they hammered him. I mean, 200 messages. And the message that you read earlier, I mean, they're not like, you're going to get in trouble. They're not like that. I mean, they are deep and piercing kind of things. You're pedophile. Your life is ruined. Nobody's going to love you anymore. And, I mean, over and over and over and over again. And you're thinking, I'm just assuming he's thinking, oh, what do I do? What do I do?
I believe that he was probably thinking, after hearing all of that stuff repeatedly for so long a time, that at some point he got to the thought of, my life is over.
Everything he worked for is gone, down the drain. I mean, James ran 365 days a year. There's been times where he forgot to put on the gloves that Tim gave him when he went out in the wintertime and ran, and I had to warm up his hands.
Right.
Like, what are you thinking? And, he was working hard on his grades to make sure he got into college. And the week that he passed, we were supposed to, he wanted to study pre-law. So I had arranged for one of the judges in the Cleveland area for James to sit in on a rape case and another trial. And so he was actually like looking forward to all these things. And they basically took that away from him. And it does anger us because it hurts me so bad to know that my son struggled and dealt with that by himself.
Yeah.
I just, that's immediately what I thought. Like, I just wanted to hug my son and tell him it was okay. And I can't do that. It's too late.
Yeah.
And, that's why we are out here in this world and we'll talk to whoever we can talk to, because we don't want to treat our kids when you say, well, it's so many hateful things that was being said to us afterwards. There's a lot of victim blaming. When we came out to the public and said my son was a victim of sextortion and he died by suicide, and, they said, well, that was stupid. He made the decision to share a picture, so why he should have been man enough to take it. They said that we didn't create a safe space for our child to go to us in that time of need. They blamed us. They said that James' death was on us.
Oh, wow.
I mean, there's so many different things that they said. And so we just have to change the narrative on how we speak to our children. And that's not taking away what James did. James didn't make the best decision initially. But I'm still going to correct my son and have his back 100% because no one's kid is perfect. Shoot,
Right.
we're not.
Right.
We make mistakes every day. So to try to say that my son deserved death because somebody else preyed on him is the absolute worst evil. You're just as evil as the murderers that helped him.
Absolutely.
Uh-huh.
And something else that they did because you read all of those text messages.
Yeah.
They kind of put in his head the thought of suicide too, didn't they?
Correct. They, I'm not sure exactly how long it took, but I want to say like the last 4 hours or so that he was still alive. They started telling him, if you're not going to pay me this money, you might as well kill yourself because I'm going to ruin your life. And, they said that in so many different ways.
Yeah.
They even got to the point where they said, you know what, you don't want to pay us our money? Well, we're going to give you a countdown. You might as well take your life now because we're about to start sending your picture out. And they told him they was going to send his picture out, and they actually made good on that. They did send his picture to multiple people. I don't know if he knew about it at the time, but they weren't lying to him.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he didn't know that there was still an end of the road to this whole situation. He just couldn't see it. It's like going around the curve. The end of the road is somewhere, but you can't see it because all you see is this curve that you have to get through. And that's the way he looked at that situation. And them people, they took advantage of it.
Wow. So he takes his life on the 19th. You find out, you get his phone, or you look up his text messages, so you find these 200 messages that he got. And you guys start putting things together and working, trying to figure out exactly how all of this happened. And then what? The next day after that, you're running to the school to save some more kids.
Yes, so November 21st. Like literally November 21st, we were in his school. And it was a number of things. First, we didn't want his friends to have that burden of his death on them. A lot of them were even talking to him that day. They were laughing. He was planning on them coming back because some of his friends had went to Disney World for a band. And so he was giving them tips on what to do because he was there before in Florida. So he said, when you come back, we're going to talk about it. We're going to have all this fun. One of his best friends had just had surgery, so he was going to work with her to help her do physical therapy and get that going. And so they had all these plans, and throughout all these conversations, they did not know that, this was happening. And so we have to be careful on our other babies as well and how they are dealing with grief. And we wanted to make sure that they knew that that was not on them. And then we also educated them on what we found out, what sextortion was, the little bit that we knew. And we told them, and we threatened them to never take their life. We were like, you better not. And we let them see every single hurt that we had because we needed them to see it. We needed them to know that we loved them no matter what. And we needed to put into them that if they are going through the same thing that James went, they have to say something. Yeah. And immediately after that, the precinct got 5 more complaints. And then even after that, it was another young man about a month or 2 later who was being sextorted, and he admitted in the precinct to the cops and to his mother. The only reason why he ever said anything was because he knew James' story. Wow. And at that time, you can actually Google it. The people who were doing the sextortion had FaceTimed him on his phone, and the cops had a screenshot of them on FaceTime.
Wow.
I mean, they get aggressive, and so these kids feel like they truly feel like they don't have a way out. And so we just have to continue to tell them. I know I jumped a lot, but
you did well.
But that's exactly why. We just had to stop the suicides from happening, and we had to encourage them to speak up. And it actually also, not only did that stop, but we got one kid to actually speak up that was being molested as well.
Oh, wow. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue our conversation with Tim and Tamia Woods and the cybercrime of sextortion.
I don't know why you're so sad. You've got a roof over your head.
You gotta stop with that depression stuff.
You all right?
It just feels like it's coming from everywhere.
Do you want to talk about it?
You can talk to me if you're feeling sad.
Whenever you need to talk, I'm here, okay?
Some people judge a book by its cover, and if you're not what people are looking for, you're kind of like a reject.
School, it feels like everyone's staring at me and I'm just kind of not really a person.
It just feels hard today. Nobody was listening to me.
Try to understand me more, and I'll try to do the same.
Listening is a form of love. Find ways to support your kids at soundedouttogether.org.
Welcome back to the 411 Live. We are talking about sextortion with Tamia and Tim Woods, whose son took his own life after being a victim of sextortion. I wanted to look at a little bit of how this whole thing works. I mean, it's coordinated, it's truly a cyber crime that is coming from different places. I think you found the location that these text messages were coming from.
We didn't find the location, but we were told that the people that attacked our son are in the Ivory Coast.
Homeland Security.
Homeland Security, okay. And in the Ivory Coast, we don't have an extradition partnership or anything,
we
so
do not.
They are just scot-free and probably will never.
Yeah, we were told that we might have to just face the possibility we'll never get justice for our son, and we don't like that, of course. But at the same time, they still can't stop us from going out and telling the world about who they are.
And that's what I was about to say, but your main mission is getting the word out and saving others so that they don't experience what he did. Or if they do, if they're approached, they have a different avenue, different way and can feel secure in telling somebody, because knowledge is power, right?
Correct. Knowledge is power, and we want to share what we have with all the adults and people that interact with children all the time, and even with children, because we want everyone to know, hey, there's someone out there that can help you, and we want the other people to know, hey, someone might need your help. Just talk to each other.
Exactly. And it's not just children. I mean, these folks, they attack adults too.
Yes.
With children, like with James, they were saying, okay, 300, give us three. So first they said 6,000, now 300. 300 is okay. But when we were talking earlier about the exchange rate of the dollar, so if we're talking $100 in the U.S. versus what that would translate to in Nigeria or the Ivory Coast, that could be, for them, thousands, right?
Yeah. So the translation of 100 USD to Naira, which is Nigerian money, is it's over $163,000.
Wow. So that's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money. So we look at us in the U.S. and although we have a lot of us who struggle financially, we still have a very high value to our dollar, and we don't realize how much a $10 gift card is $16,000 to them.
Wow. And then when I look at, Debbie, the connection between sextortion and human trafficking, kind of explain that to me.
So usually, what statistics are showing is that when this happens to a boy or a man, they most likely will commit suicide. But a girl or a woman will be asked for more pictures, and many times then will end up in the commercial sex trade or doing some sort of cyber sexual things that will get money for the person involved. $1 you can spend once. A person you can spend over and over and over again.
Oh, wow. So this is, it's disturbing. It's frightening, for somebody who has a teenager, and every kid has a phone. And we were talking about the social media, the apps. And there are so many apps that a lot of adults don't know about that the kids are on. So we have to educate ourselves and constantly talk to them, right?
Yes. We preach to educate and not take away, because when you take away, kids start to hide. And so we want to make sure that we educate, not only giving the parents the information that they need or a trustworthy adult, the information that they need. We also equip the kids with that information. And it's never to overstep the boundaries or overstep the parent and what they're trying to do, but it's to sustain the child's life. So James' last Google search was how to get an Instagram page shut down. He was trying to figure out in Google how to get out of his situation, and he did not know how. So that's why we created tip cards, and it has information on there and gives you different steps on how to actually report this, and they can make a report on their own. It doesn't take the parent away, but what it does is give the child a sense of relief. I told somebody this is off of me, they're going to help me, and then we can bring in the parent on the back end.
How can I get more information from you? The tip card, all of the things that you have.
So they can if you want tip cards, you can actually reach out to us via our website at www.letsdifj.org. So that's www.letsdifj.org. On there, we have an education and share that we're constantly growing. You will see different things on a press release, FBI information from National Center of Missing and Exploited Children. We have also information on you can get for parents to have programs that they can purchase to put on their child's cell phone to monitor if they are being cyberbullied or if even they're doing the cyberbullying to help them stop and put a stop to all of that. We have different ways that you can actually reach out to us. We can do speaking engagements ourselves. We can go out there. We have webinars. We have interviews. We have Hulu Sextortion documentary. We have interviews with Dr. Phil. We have so many other projects coming up. We want you all to be well educated on the matter because not only is this happening underneath our fingertips, but it's growing at an increasingly crazy rate. So we have to just make sure that we're educated, not only to know how to handle it, but to approach our children so that they feel comfortable with coming to us in the near future if it was to happen to them.
Absolutely. And the important thing too is instilling in them, people make mistakes.
Oh, yes.
You know?
Yes.
And we can, you can still arise above the mistakes that you make. But if you're in trouble, you need to tell somebody.
Yeah. Kids see us as, I don't want to say the end result, but the end result, right? So kids see us in our form of who we are now. They never were a part of the road that we got to get there. So they don't see that we ever made mistakes or different things of that sort. So we have to come to their level and say, hey, I was there, and give them examples of some of the mistakes that you made in order for them to open up and share with you.
Kind of your vulnerability spawns them to be vulnerable as well.
Yeah, because we tell kids all the time, you're already in a vulnerable position, which is how you got here. So ask for some help. Be vulnerable one more time and say, hey, this is what I'm going through. Talk to someone you trust and see if they can help you. And on the other side, we tell parents, your kids, they talk to you, but do they tell you everything? Do they really open up to you? And we encourage the parents to say, this is what I went through when I was your age. And this is how I got through it. We tell them something embarrassing about yourself that happened so that they'll be more likely to open up to you too. Because, we look at our parents as superheroes sometimes.
Yeah.
We think they got all the answers. They're strong. They're smart. They know what they're doing. But at the same time, we don't want to upset our parents. We don't want to let them down. Kids, they like, well, I'm going to just keep it to myself. And then they suffer in silence. And then bad things happen. Parents would open up a little bit, get the kid to open up, and they have an actual conversation without much judgment. They could come to a lot of solutions to a lot of problems.
Absolutely. Dr. Debbie, I have to thank you and Convergence Resource Center because you brought them to the Milwaukee area to share their story, to educate us about sextortion. And this is something that Convergence is known for doing with your Epidemic and the Game every year that you have with these kind of workshops and giving us this important information for our community. So we know it, we know how to react to things that are happening and prevent some things that are happening. So I know that I've been talking a lot with them, but I thank you and Convergence for what you're doing. So thank you.
You're very welcome.
Yeah.
Yes, we'd like to thank Dr. Debbie as well. She's been wonderful to us, and we just thank you for giving us another platform to raise awareness.
Yeah. Any final thoughts that you want to leave people with?
We always leave. We make sure that the kids know you matter. If you ever are thinking about taking your own life or you're having bad thoughts, we encourage you to dial 988. You can even text them, and they will be of services to you. Please reach out to somebody. You don't have to be strong all by yourself every single day. No one can do that. So please be vulnerable one more time and reach out and say something to someone.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would say, if you're a child, find somebody you trust that's an adult because they have a wisdom that you don't have yet. Tell them what's going on and ask them if they can help you. And as for the adults, you never know. You might be someone's trusted adult and not even know it. So if someone comes to you and they seem like they want to talk, just sit down and have a genuine conversation with them. Don't just, blow them off or whatever, because you might actually be doing something that's going to save someone's life just by having a conversation. So just take time out of your day. It's not that hard.
That is a really, really good point. They may be creeping towards you, wanting to say something, and they need you to listen. Mm-hmm. As adults, we have a tendency to lecture and do the talking, but to just sit back and listen, and listen through those pauses. Sometimes the pauses are long, but just be quiet, let them take their time, and don't try to rush them. So I like that point. That's very good. That's very good. So Tamia and Tim, thank you both for coming and sharing your story. I really appreciate it. I truly believe that people who are listening, among them, somebody will be saved. I truly believe that. Dr. Debbie, thank you for coming along, sitting beside me. Debbie Lassiter, co-founder and executive director at Convergence Resource Center, and Tim and Tamia, you guys are, you're on the battlefield and you're making a difference. So I truly appreciate that. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. And thank you for joining us for another episode, the part 2 of the 411 Live, Real People, Real Talk. Again, we're a nonprofit organization. If you'd like to partner with us, go to our website, the411live.org. Until next time, this is the 411 Live, Real People, Real Talk. If you would like to check out past episodes, there are many ways. Go to your favorite podcast platform, follow us on Twitter and Instagram, like and watch us on Facebook, Watch and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you have suggestions for future episodes, go to our website, the411live.org.